I'm just going to come out and say it. I think Maxx Crosby wants to be a Chicago Bear. Whether or not it will happen remains to be seen, but we're going to talk about it and kind of dive into the Maxx Crosby, Caleb Williams interview. Plus, a national commentator thinks that this is going to happen as well. My name is Harrison Graham. Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. You guys keep answering the bell, but I'm going to ask you at least one more time. Can we bury the Packers report? I want to beat these guys so bad that they want to delete the channel. And they say, you know what? We're never catching Bears Now. We're never winning a single month in new subscribers. They beat us on the field. They beat us in the subscribers. I'm just giving up. That's what I want the Packers report to feel. Love my guy Joey, but I'm trying to kick his ass here. So if you want free and daily Bears content, if you want to take down the Packers report, support the show by hitting that subscribe button. All right, so Caleb Williams joined Maxx Crosby's The Rush podcast, which I've watched before. I think it's pretty good. I like the co-host he has. Forget the guy's name, but he does a pretty good job. And this is a pretty good interview. I got to say, I would recommend going to listen to it. And the biggest overall takeaway before I get into some quotes from both Caleb and Max is the mutual respect these guys have for each other is very genuine and real. And it goes back to the season. I mean, both these guys, and they even talked about it. They were like, yeah, after the game, like, I was gassing you up in the presser. You were gassing me up, yada, yada, yada. And I do think these guys feel like the other player is just a high-end player in the NFL, which is cool to see. It's always cool to see these guys who, lay it on the line, kind of talk about it and have that mutual respect. Caleb Williams, I just want to start with this, kind of revisiting the Bears-Raiders game, which, if you remember, was a wild game early in the year. Bears won on a blocked field goal. He revisited the interception Crosby made, and he said, I've gone back and watched the interception. You started at the right D end, and he tipped it to himself. I never saw him, but I knew he was on the right side, so he won't be on the left side of the center where I was throwing it. I saw him tip the ball, and I was like, no. Then I'm like, fuck, now I have to go tackle him. He ended up running out of bounds. I got to the sideline. I'm like, how the fuck did he start right, get over left, and I'm throwing a seam ball, and he picks it off. And if you guys remember just revisiting that game mentally, and we were talking about it during the game, I was like, this fucking guy is single-handedly wrecking the game. He is just carrying a terrible Raiders team and keeping the Raiders in the game. Not only keeping them in the game, like, beating the Bears by himself. Like, it's one thing for a Josh Allen, a Patrick Mahomes, a Caleb Williams, a quarterback, or an offensive player even, a running back, like a Derrick Henry, to just take over a game, and it's like, you're not going to stop me. It's harder for a defensive player to do that for stretches of a game, be like, I'm the reason that we're winning this game. Maxx Crosby is one of those players where he can have these stretches where it's like he's just taking over the game. And he was batting balls. He was getting after Caleb. He was flushing them out. It was incredible to watch. It was one of the more dominant first halves I've ever seen. To the Bears' credit, they made some adjustments and slowed him down in the second half a little bit. Max said this at the end of the interview to Caleb. Said, thanks for coming on, just to be open and honest, bro, like we talked about earlier. Nothing but respect at a different level, bro. You're one of those guys for sure, and you're just getting started. I don't even know if you understand yet how good you can be, and that's the scariest part. You know what I mean? Just keep that mindset. Keep doing what you're doing. You know we're locked in forever, so keep doing your thing. You need me, hit me at any time. It goes vice versa. And, you watch that, and again, like, the mutual respect is clear. They talked for like an hour, and there was a lot of complimenting one another. But I think there's like a little like just kind of messaging in there too from Maxx Crosby of like, damn, I wish I had a quarterback with this kind of talent. Like, he knows that you have to have a dude to win big in the NFL. And the closest thing he's had to that is Derek freaking Carr, who's a nice player. Right? Had a good career. Maybe he returns to the NFL, who knows. But Derek Carr is not carrying a team. He's not going to be a reason a team wins a Super Bowl, whereas Caleb Williams has the talent and the upside and the ability to do that. Like, we've already seen it. So, and Maxx Crosby knows that. He's seen that firsthand. And I remember after the game, he did a podcast, and his co-host asked, like, hey, man, you just played Caleb and the Bears. What'd you think? He was like, dude, that guy earned my respect for sure. Like, this and that. So, like, again, revisiting it before they even talked a couple days ago, like, Maxx Crosby already, like, had this guy on his radar and had earned his respect as a quarterback in the NFL. Also, in part of this interview, I think the co-host actually initially asked it, but Max was interested as well. Like, hey, what's it like in Chicago? What's the vibes been like? And so first, Caleb talked about the Soldier Field atmosphere, especially in the playoffs. He said the atmosphere of that national anthem versus the Rams in the playoffs was like a band of people coming together, one of the best atmospheres I've ever been in, if not the best. I'm ready to get back to that and bring the juice back to Chicago. And then talking about just the city and the fans and all that, he said they really love football in Chicago. Someone told me after I got drafted that Chicago has had the Bulls, the Cubs, and the White Sox win championships. Obviously, the Bulls went on a run, but the 85 Bears and that group of winning and going to the playoffs, it's a Bears city. I didn't fully realize it until this year when we started winning. You're driving into the city on off days or the night before the game, and the whole city and the skyline is blue and orange. It's sick. I appreciate the fans. They've made this experience unbelievable. Couple takeaways I have from that. Number one, and I've said this and we saw it throughout the year, he's fully bought into the Bears, into the city. Like, you see that. He talked about his Caleb Cares Foundation and how that's taken off in Chicago, so that's been cool to see as well. We saw him and a couple other guys feeding the homeless the day after they beat the Packers in that regular season game. So, like, he's invested into the city, which is cool to see. You want to see the faces of your team do that type of stuff. And I think number two, there's a little bit of a sales pitch going on. Hey, man, it's sick here. It's a Bears city. Don't get it twisted. And look, it's cool. Vegas is cool and whatnot. You watch those games, though, you get a good fan base coming in. When the Bears go to Vegas, there's more Bears fans there. And the Cowboys go to Vegas, there's more Cowboys fans there. 49ers, like, all this stuff. And we've talked about this, and I've just said it. It's like, at some point, if you're Maxx Crosby, like, he's not going to come out and say it, but I do think he wants to play for a contender. I think the Chicago Bears are a team he would love to play for. He clearly is a Caleb Williams believer, and he knows he just had a surgery. It's like, I'm going to be 29. Like, how much longer am I going to play at this level? Am I going to be dominating at 35? Probably not. But 29, 30, 31, 32, I got a lot of good football in me. Do I really want to go through a full rebuild in Vegas? Because it kind of feels like that's what they're going to do. So we'll see what ends up happening here. But there's a lot of tea leaves, and there's been some things adding up here that maybe it's not Chicago or bust from Maxx Crosby's standpoint, but I do think deep down he wants out more than he wants to stay in Vegas. And I do think the Bears are a team very, very high on his radar, especially given the defensive history of the franchise as well. Do you think Maxx Crosby will be a Bear? Do you think he'll be a Chicago Bear? Type Y for yes, type in for no. Well, one national commentator thinks he will be. We're going to tell you who that is coming up here in just a moment. But today's show is sponsored by Marsman. Check out Marsman, fellas. I turned 33 later this year, and got to be honest, I was starting to feel it late last year in terms of the energy levels. Most men start losing testosterone around age 30 and about 1% every year after that. When the new year hit, kind of treated it like a reset. I wanted to feel energized again, not worn down, especially after a long football season. So this year, I'm keeping it simple, and I'm doing something natural that supports my body where it needs it. That's why I'm taking Marsman. It helps your body unlock usable testosterone so you can feel like yourself again. Marsman supports healthy T levels, energy, and stamina. It has 8 natural and clinically dosed ingredients, including boron, zinc, vitamin D, and much more. Also, Marsman is made in the United States and is third-party tested. You can also get a 90-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk. Worst case, if you don't absolutely love it, you can get your money back. However, 91% of users report higher energy levels, so that is unlikely. Check it out. For a limited time, our listeners get 50% off for life, plus free shipping, and 3 free gifts at mengotomars.com. That's mengotomars.com for 50% off and 3 free gifts when you check out. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support the show. Tell them Bears Now by Chat Sports sent you. I would greatly appreciate it. That link is in the comments and description of this video. mengotomars.com, 50% off plus 3 free gifts. Okay, Danny Parkins, who a lot of you guys are probably familiar with, Chicago guys, now doing national TV, First Things First on Fox Sports 1, said, I think Maxx Crosby plays week 1 next year on the Bears. For a while now, there's been an admiration from Crosby towards Caleb and Crosby toward the Bears. He talked about Caleb on his podcast earlier this season, seemingly unprompted. They played against each other, and he complimented Caleb. The Bears need a pass rush desperately. I just think there are so many fit needs and vibes here. I legitimately believe that Maxx Crosby will be a Bear by week 1. Now, he's not reporting this. He's a commentator. He's an entertainer. Like, I'm sure he hears some things here and there, being a Chicago radio guy as long as he was. But I don't think he's Adam Scheftering this piece in saying all of this. But and he even admitted, he was like, listen, like I'm a Bears fan, obviously, so like, take it for what it's worth. But I think there's been a lot of signs here, not necessarily, again, just for the Bears, but like that Maxx Crosby could get traded. There's been rumors for years, but he's kind of pushed back against those. He's not really doing that anymore. He's not coming out and saying, I want to be traded, but he's not coming out and saying, I want to be a Raider either. Like, he's kind of just, Switzerland. He's playing neutral here. Jay Glazer says he wants out, doesn't want to go through a rebuild. Crosby didn't dismiss that. There's everyone's reported this. He was pissed off at the end of the year when they shut him down when he wanted to play through that knee issue. Now, again, he got surgery, clearly had an injury, but he felt like he could play the last 2 games before getting that taken care of. There's been reports from ESPN and others that his number 1 priority is winning. So if the Raiders commit to a rebuild, that may not fit the timeline he's looking for. And other insiders has hinted at a trade. Like Ian Rappaport has said it could happen. Albert Breer has said it could happen. No one has said like, hey, he has requested a trade from the Raiders. Jay Glazer was the boldest when he said he wants out. I guess Jason La Canfora had that report. He told Tom Brady, I'm never playing for the Raiders again. I don't necessarily believe that, but I do think where there's smoke, there's fire. There's enough here that says, at minimum, he's conflicted about his future, and at maximum, he does want out. It's probably somewhere in the middle where he's leaning where he wants out. Our Raiders report host told me earlier this week, hey, I think it's 50-50. They're supposedly going to meet, talking about Max and the Raiders, probably Clint Kubiak, Spytek, the GM, maybe the new defensive coordinator who is his longtime D-line coach, so maybe that's a play by the Raiders to try and keep him. But they're going to meet later this week, it sounds like, before the Combine, and maybe come to some sort of conclusion in terms of like what each side wants moving forward. I will say this as well. Adam Schefter hopped on 97.5 The Fanatic on Wednesday and said, I was told that the Raiders don't want to trade him, and even if they contemplated it, it would take a Micah Parsons type package. Do I think they're getting 2 firsts in a player? No. And I think you can take that a lot of different ways. You could say they're delusional. You could say maybe they're just kind of like, they're setting a starting point knowing they'll have to settle for less. Like, they don't want to, tell teams like, hey, it'll just take 1 first-round pick, right? Because then, like, you're not playing from a position of strength. It's like, yeah, we love Max. We want him here for life. At minimum, it's going to take a Micah package. But in reality, they might say, well, we'll actually take something like this, which Bill Zimmerman said he was told by someone in the Raiders building that the Bears' 25th overall pick at the A2 pick next year and DJ Moore could get it done, which, again, that's a strong offer. Like, DJ Moore helps Fernando Mendoza. That's 2 premium draft picks for a defensive end that's only going to be 29, but he's had a couple of injuries now and plays a lot of snaps, a lot of mileage on those legs there. Bill Barnwell of ESPN did not make that strong of an offer. It was DJ Moore and a first, 25 overall, for Maxx Crosby and a 5th next year. So what's reality? That's kind of the thought here, right? If it's somewhere in the middle, let's say it's a first and a 4th in DJ Moore, and you get a 5th back or something like that. I think I'm in. A first and a 2nd in DJ Moore is a lot. A first and a 3rd in DJ, that's probably about as much as I would go. But if it's like a first, a day 3 pick, and they take DJ as well, and maybe you get some kind of pick back, I think that's kind of the ballpark that seems more reasonable. Like, Schefter's right. They are not getting a Micah trade package. By the time Max gets traded, he will basically be 3 full years older. And he's already been paid, whereas when Micah got traded, he had not been paid yet. the Green Bay Packers then ended up paying him. So all these things factor in for both parties, the Raiders and teams interested. So we'll see what happens. I do think the Bears are interested. I do think Max has an admiration for Caleb Williams and what the Bears got going on right now. Caleb was kind of talking about the psycho obsessions that Ben Johnson has about being kind of a stone cold killer, and Maxx Crosby has seemed pretty intrigued by that. So I do think the interview timing is pretty interesting with all the smoke that's already been out there. So look, it's fun, right? You react to these things, and maybe something comes from it, maybe it doesn't. But I do think that there's movement here. I think the Bears have interest. I think Crosby could get traded, and I think Chicago would be one of the teams that he could get traded to. All right, drop your Maxx Crosby trade ideas down in the comment section of this video. If you got some good ones, fire away in the comments.